Hello students, today we will be studying a poem from the first flight, which is the textbook in English for class 10. The name of the poem is Amanda and its poet is Robin Klein. Robin Klein is an Australian author of books for children. She was born on the 28th of February 1936 in New South Wales, Australia, and now resides near Melbourne. She had her first short story published at the age of 16. She did a number of jobs before becoming an established writer. Several of her books have been shortlisted for the CBCA Children's Book of the Year Award. Some of her favorite writings are Hating Alison Ashley, Halfway Across the Galaxy, Turn Left, Boss of the Pool, etc. Theme of the poem. Childhood is a time when we indulge in our fantasies and live in a dream world of our own. Every child wants to behave and do things as he or she pleases. The child's freedom is of paramount importance and is the child's greatest wealth. Constant nagging, unwanted instruction, and overprotection of their parents displease them. If parents keep on nagging them, they escape into their own dreamy world of fantasy. In this poem, the poetess throws light on how a little girl Amanda is constantly being instructed and monitored by her mother. Therefore, this girl turns a deaf ear to this constant nagging and drifts away into her own world of dreams and fantasies. Brief introduction to the poem. The poem Amanda depicts the state of a little girl's mind who is constantly being instructed about what to do and what not to do by her mother. She is told to sit up straight, not to hunch her shoulders, to finish her homework, to tidy her room, not to eat chocolates, etc. But while she is being constantly nagged by her mother, she is engrossed in a world of fantasy, dreaming of a life of freedom. She takes no notice of what is being said to her. Then she is rebuked for being moody and sulking all the time. This poem is set in different settings. Stanza 1, 3, 5 and 7 depict the reality in which her mother is constantly scolding her and instructing her about the do's and don'ts. Stanza 2, 4 and 6 are fanciful and imaginary settings designed by Amanda in her own mind. She escapes into this fanciful world when she is tired of listening to her mother. In stanza 2, she fancies herself as being a mermaid. In stanza 4, she imagines herself as an orphan enjoying freedom. In stanza 6, she imagines herself as Rapunzel, a fairy tale character. Now let us read the first two stanzas of the poem. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. There is a languid emerald sea, where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Let's now understand the meanings of a few difficult words in these stanzas. Hunch means to raise the shoulders and bend the top of the body forward. Slouching means standing, sitting, or moving in a lazy way. Languid here means relaxed or calm. Drifting means moving slowly or casually. Here the poetess is describing a little girl, Amanda, who is always being pointed out by her mother. But the girl is in a dream world of her own. In the first stanza, the speaker, who is the mother, is speaking in a strict tone. She tells Amanda not to bite her nails and not to hunch her shoulder. She is telling her to sit up straight and not to sit lazily with her shoulders bent. Her mother is instructing her to adapt a right posture and sit up straight. But at this time, when she is being instructed and scolded by her mother, Amanda is lost in her dream world, where she fancies herself to be a mermaid, moving around freely and happily in a relaxed fashion in the emerald green sea. She imagines herself to be the sole or the only inhabitant of the beautiful, relaxed, calm sea where she is enjoying her freedom with no one around to disturb her or to nag her. Now, let us read the next two stanzas. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. I am an orphan roaming the streets. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. In the third stanza, Amanda's mother is again talking in an authoritative tone. She asks Amanda whether she has completed her homework. She asks her if she had cleaned or tidied her room. And finally, she asks her if she had cleaned her shoes. Her mother is both irritated and angry at her. But while the mother is instructing her, Amanda is totally lost in her own world of fantasy, imagining herself to be an orphan, roaming about freely in the streets with bare feet and drawing patterns or designs on the dusty streets with her bare feet. As her mother is constantly nagging her and does not give her the freedom to do things of her choice, she says that for her, silence is golden, which means that silence is very crucial and precious for her. And freedom for her is the sweetest thing. Freedom is what she wants. This indicates that she never feels free when she is with her mother, who is constantly nagging her. Now let's read the next two stanzas. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? I am Rapunzel. I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I'll certainly never let down my bright hair. Let's have a look at a few difficult words in these two stanzas. Acne means pimples. Rare means uncommon. Tranquil means calm. Amanda's mother is further scolding her for eating chocolates and reminds her of her acne or pimples, which are due to her habit of eating chocolates. She then instructs her to pay attention to what she is saying. Amanda is now reminded of Rapunzel, a fairy tale character who is captured in a tower by a witch. And when the witch wants to reach her in the tower, Rapunzel has to let down her long hair so that the witch can climb up to visit her in the tower. Amanda dreams to be Rapunzel, who is leading a peaceful and quiet life without any worries in a tower. She now reminds herself that she will not let down her hair for anyone to visit her. She wants to enjoy a life which is peaceful and carefree. Let us now read the last stanza of this poem. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You're always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. In this last stanza, Amanda's mother is warning her for behaving in a very odd manner. She asks her to stop sulking, getting irritated, and being moody. She scolds her by saying that this behavior of hers will make people think that Amanda was constantly being nagged, harassed, instructed, and scolded by her mother. So children, through this poem we see that Amanda is always being pointed out by her mother, and she can't react to it because if she does, her mother further scolds her, saying that people would think that Amanda's mother is very dominating. So Amanda, to escape from such a situation, withdraws into her world of fantasy, totally ignoring her mother's instructions and scolding. Rhyme scheme and poetic devices. Rhyme scheme of stanzas 1, 3, 5 and 7, that is, the stanzas spoken by mother is AABA. Rhyme scheme of the stanzas depicting Amanda's imagination, that is, the stanzas 2, 4 and 6 is CCC. The various poetic devices used in this poem, Amanda, are alliteration, anaphora, repetition, metaphor, illusion. Alliteration. Alliteration is a figure of speech in which the same sound is repeated. It is actually a repetition of sound. We can also say that it is the use of the same letter or sound at the beginning of words that are close together. Example of alliteration can be seen in stanza 1. Stop that slouching and sit up straight. Here, the S sound is repeated. In stanza 7, we again have the repetition of the S sound. Stop that sulking. Anaphora. Anaphora is the repetition of the first part of a sentence, or we can say when a word is repeated at the start of 2 or more consecutive lines, it is called as anaphora. In stanza 1, the word don't is repeated in the first and the second lines. Another example of anaphora can be seen in stanza 3, where the word did is repeated in the first 2 lines of the stanza. Repetition. The word Amanda is repeated in stanza 1, 3, 5 and 7 to lay emphasis. Metaphor. Several examples of metaphor can be seen in this poem. Emerald sea, silence is golden, freedom is sweet are examples of metaphor. Allusion. Allusion is a figure of speech in which reference is made to a well-known famous person or thing. In stanza 2, reference to a mermaid, and in stanza 6, reference to Rapunzel are examples of allusion. With this, children, we come to the end of the explanation as well as the discussion of the poetic devices of this poem. Hope you all have understood.